welcome to another round of Chitter Chatter. Today we're going to chit chat with our guest Chaitanya Sant. You have seen him and heard him if you suffer from cricket fever. Well, I am suffering from it right now because I want to chit chat with him all about him, about his commentary, about his presentation, because he's not just a commentator and a presentator, he's also a TEDx speaker, he's also a professor in Mass University, he's also an expert on the subject of history, and he's also a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, and he's also a lot more. So let's invite him and let's get started with our chitter chatter. All that you want to ask. Hello Hardik, hello Harsh, hello Suryansh, hello Rajesh Mansukhani. Thank you for loving my necklace. Hello Vivek Kapoor. Hello Chaitanya Sant, the professor and commentator and presentator. और अगर मैं और introduction देती तो मेरा chitter chatter ही खत्म हो जाता.
Hello Shweta there. Good evening. Am I audible? So good to see you once again.
You are very much audible, and I hope you're as excited as me and my viewers here because we have a lot of questions for you, and we're suffering from cricket fever thanks to you prior to the show already.
Yes, we certainly are, and that's the atmosphere here across the country right now. Cricket is happening, and finally, we have cricket being played with spectators also being allowed. What better a sight than cricket being played in India, and that too with spectators, and that too Indian team playing in it. Can't get better.
You're commentating and presenting with the Digital 2 Sports for the ICC T20 World Cup and the ongoing India versus New Zealand series. So tell us all about it.
Yes, so this is the new online digital platform called as the Digital 2 Sports, wherein we do commentary. We had finished the entire ICC T20 World Cup, which India unfortunately could not do well, but it was a good World Cup nonetheless from the cricketing perspective. And then continuing with that, with the India and New Zealand series, we do 4 shows every day. That is the pre-show, and because it's a test match, there is a lunch break, there is a tea break, and there is the post-match presentations and post-match show or the at the end of day's play. So we generally do 4 shows every day discussing everything in detail. We have experts also that keep joining in. We call it the Dusra show. It's a very peculiar and a very difficult delivery that bowlers bowl generally in cricket. So the show is called as the Dusra show, and we talk of everything right from entertainment to IPL to everything associated with the world of cricket.
Wow, that is amazing for every cricket lover and even the ones who are not major cricket lover, because this has everything in like one package.
Yes, it does, and that's where the excitement comes from. No? We talk about cricket, which is not only about everything that happens on the field. If we talk of IPL, day before yesterday was a big day when it comes to the auctions and retentions. So no, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of entertainment factor that always gets added in joining in with cricket. So that's where the game becomes so much fun.
We've seen your excitement when you're on your shows, but how did you get into sports commentary?
So see, getting into sports commentary was again something that is a part of my family legacy, if I can say that. My father was a sports commentator. He was a sports journalist as well. And talking of contemporary times, he was also one of the journalists present at the World Cup victory, जिसके ऊपर एक movie भी आ रहा है. So we can, if we have time, we can talk about that as well. So he was a sports commentator. Sorry, Shweta?
Yeah, yours.
Yes, surely. So we can get into those stories. My elder brother is a commentator. So it just happened wherein it was a choice that I had made, wherein the 9 to 5 job is something that I never had any excitement for because of the first very bad internship that I had done as a master's student. That's when I realized 9 to 5 is not cup of my tea. So as a result of which, I started teaching as well in colleges, and because I had done my graduation in history, I started teaching school students. And then one day an opportunity came in for a football league. I wasn't a big fan of the game of football, but an opportunity came in somewhere in Madhya Pradesh wherein a senior commentator had refused to be a commentator there because of the other arrangements that were done of traveling, and the hotel that was booked over there by the organizers was not up to the quality. So some senior commentators had refused to take it. And thus, me being the junior most without any experience, I was contacted, and I said, hotel and traveling does not matter to me. What matters is if there's a game being played, and if I'm able to do the commentary, baki khana kya aa raha hai, where am I staying, how the traveling is, doesn't matter to me. So that's where I got my first opportunity. I realized that getting a chance is very difficult, so I had to give my best. I did it, and then after that, it was just recognized, and I just kept on getting more and more chances.
How do you manage to strike a balance between teaching and commentary? Like both are like really hectic in their own ways.
They certainly are. So both are challenging because both is where you are engaging a different audience. When I teach, I know who my target audience is, but while doing commentary, I don't know who's listening. And there comes the live audience. So how it happens is while teaching, there are certain things that I teach, but majority of the times it might be a surprise, Shweta, but I learn a lot of things from my students as well. So for example, if I can just share an example here, in the past 2 years, we have been taking online lectures. So we have the comment section always on for the kids, wherein they want to comment, if they want to ask a question, they can do it. So on one fine lecture, I was talking on something about mass media, some theory I was explaining. And one student just wrote two alphabets on the comment section, and that was OP. And I thought
Yeah.
that must be a spelling mistake for OK, and I just ignored it. उसके बाद तीन चार जन again they kept on writing OP, and then I just could not understand what is happening. So I just asked them the question कि सबके keyboard में K की नहीं चल रहा है क्या? Why is everyone writing OP instead of OK? And then one of them just answered, sir, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Thus we are saying OP, which means on point. I said, oh, okay, that is nice. On point for OP. So I made sure that in my commentary stint, whenever I'm with an expert, and if an expert makes certain point, I go OP. So I'm targeting with the right audience, with the young audience who also is my target when I'm doing the commentary, because we have to make a lot of sense when it comes to content. But at the same time, we have to target the right kind of audience, and that is where interacting with kids and interacting with students of different ages, teaching them a subject like mass media always becomes helpful because we're talking of relevant issues. And that's when the OP was a big example, wherein it just makes this very easy and smooth transition for me from teaching in colleges as well as doing live commentary or live presentations.
Well, your Janvi Haria is saying, ha ha ha, Chaitanya sir, OPXD. Vivek
There you
Kapoor is saying OP. Shura Insta is saying, oh point, good point. So yeah, while we have this conversation going on, we have a lot of people saying OP.
Yes, that's what I did not know a couple of years back, but because of online lectures and because of kids typing OP, I realized OP is quite a powerful sentence to make.
And I realized today with my chitter chatter that OP is quite a powerful
Yeah.
something which is powerful and enlightening. I'll be like, OP.
Yes, that's what we do now.
So you're coming from a family background where dad is a sports journalist and brother's been in this. Was there any pressure that you had to keep up to the legacy, or what was it like being from the same legacy? And it's kind of difficult. Like people have comparisons, family have expectations. So what was it like?
Oh, certainly. You had to. Pressure was there, but the pressure was from myself, wherein I said that I have to stand up to the expectations and to the standards that have been set by my father and my elder brother, wherein I have to go to the same level. So expectations from others are always secondary, but first were the high expectations that I had set for myself. That okay, boss. Now that I've got a chance, I have to deliver, if not as good as what my father used to do, but at least somewhere close to it, or somewhere where the audience will accept it. So the pressure definitely is there, always was there, and eventually whenever you go live, there always is the pressure facing the camera, not knowing how the audience is going to react, and the kind of freedom our audience has to express their likes and dislikes thanks to social media. You always have to be careful with the kind of content and the kind of words that you're giving out and the kind of conversation you're going to have with the experts or with your fellow commentators. The pressure is always high, but that's where I think even the greatest of cricketers have said that it's only when there is high pressure that you deliver well. So now every time that I go live, every time there's always this pressure, but that's when it helps you into delivering much better.
Wow, that's an OP. So, like you said, there's a lot of pressure when you're going live. So it's like, be the chitter chatter, whether I make a wrong pronunciation, I cannot rectify it. I'll end up saying something wrong, I cannot rectify it. If I'm on the theater, I can't rectify it. It's a moment that is gone. And at least in theater, we have a script. At least now with you, I know my content to a certain extent. Comparatively, I have here the viewers who have their questions coming in. But when you are commentating on a sports, it's like live going on. You really can't predict anything. How do you take over? Like, how do you have your connection between your mind and your verbal speech, if I may say? Like, how do you manage that?
So that's what happens. When we do commentary, it is believed that we are just going spontaneous. But what happens is we are doing commentary right now, say for example, but it's the content that we have earned, we have heard, we have listened, we have studied for the past so many years. So it's very difficult for you to just sit in front of a TV and start commentating if you have not practiced it, if you have not learned the game, if you haven't understood the game enough. So even if while doing commentary, it is all about the efforts that you've put in for so many years, about perhaps maybe playing the game, which I had the advantage of. I've played decent level of cricket of different sports that I've played, and then reading about different sports, may that be different books, may that be different research articles, or may that be listening to commentators who have been doing it for so long. So hearing them, listening to them, and understanding the sport becomes quite a challenge. But once that is done, it is just, imagine for someone like me who I enjoy watching all kind of sports. For me, it is just going at the stadium, or what we do after commentary is just seeing the match being played live on a camera. We have a mic and we're just talking about whatever is happening at the game. So for some, it is a dream job that they look up to. And fortunately for a few like me, we have achieved the dream job, wherein one of our most favorite hobbies or the most favorite interest that we have, and that is sport, has become a part of our profession. So it's extreme fortune that you get a chance to do something like that, and then once you get it, you have to deliver. And when you talk of challenges that keep coming in, also are plenty, the pressures are plenty, but it's only about understanding the game, learning the game in detail, and then it's just like having a conversation, like I'm having a conversation, similarly just having a conversation with the camera.
Well, you've been working on your craft. So I really want to know, what were the struggles you faced as a beginner, and what are the struggles you facing today as an expert?
So struggles definitely are there. First of all is getting a chance. And then getting a chance in the earliest stages also means that you perhaps are the only commentator. So I started doing football for a league across the country, and I of course started doing the local cricket jo hota hai, tennis ball cricket, underarm cricket jo hota hai, wherein 5 matches are played in the entire day, which goes to around 8.5 hours, and there is only one commentator. So that means you are the only commentator doing commentary for 8.5 hours, and commentary means you cannot just give expert opinions at the end of every over. You have to keep explaining each and every shot that is being played. So that is where somewhere my teaching also helped me, wherein I started teaching way back in 2014, wherein I used to deliver 8 lectures every day. So delivering lectures 8 hours every day, that too giving some good content, just made it a little smoother and easier for me into doing commentary for 8 hours in my initial days, as when the struggle period was doing with only one commentator. And then later on, the struggles just went on becoming different, wherein if you talk of the last 2 years, I was doing commentary with Star Sports as well, for Star Sports and their regional language, wherein we were doing commentary from home. And at times, even when we did the 2018 IPL, we were doing it from the studio. So generally what happens is not all commentators are on the ground. There are a few commentators who are in the studio and they're watching match on the television, a high definition television, and you're doing commentary, which is done for logistical convenience. So what happened at one of our instance was, I was sitting with an expert. We were doing commentary, looking at the match live on a television set. And the way it is raining now in Mumbai, which we don't expect in December. Similarly, when the IPL was being played in the month of April, it started raining. And the cable connection of a television in the studio was the dish that exists. So because it rained and because there's a lot of gush of wind, the dish somehow just maybe flipped or it stopped working. So the television in front of us stopped, but we were still live on air. So our audience was watching the match and listening to us, but we could not see the match, but still we were on air. So our producer was continuously kept us saying that please talk, but we are not able to see the match. So how are you going to do a commentary if you don't see the match? Now that's where your presence of mind comes in. That's where the study and the knowledge of the game comes into play, wherein we just kept on saying it was India who was batting. Pardon me, it was an IPL match. So it was Mumbai Indians who were playing with someone else. So we knew everyone in Mumbai Indians. The match was being played at Wankhede Stadium. So we just went on chatting generally about Wankhede Stadium, generally about the IPL, generally about Rohit Sharma, how destructive Hardik Pandya is, and so on. For the next 3 minutes, the viewers who were listening to a commentary might have just been thinking कि ये क्या चल रहा है commentary में, match में कुछ अलग हो रहा है, ये लोग कुछ अलग बात किए जा रहे हैं शायद, But at the same time, we were talking that Rohit Sharma has his strength with the short ball. So short ball he can pull. Hardik Pandya can hit any ball out of the Wankhede Stadium, maybe directly at the Marine Drive. There might be people going on a stroll over there. So we were just talking something. So these are the challenges that are also faced. But that's where your presence of mind comes in, and just make sure that whatever happens, you just have to keep talking. You cannot have any blank noise coming in when you're live on air. And these technical glitches, like the way we started today, it's a part of life. Everywhere and anywhere there are technical glitches that take place. So challenges keep on have it with
While we are
experts.
facing another challenge, there's some network issue and I've lost Chaitanya. Okay, so challenges keep having and we lost you. So can you continue from there?
Yes, challenges keep happening. As I was saying, the way it happens over here as well always keeps on happening. So challenges have been different for me since I started doing commentary for 8 hours in a day in local cricket, or gully cricket as they say, to now, just coming up with bigger and bigger content, because, doing commentary with international sportsmen or with former India players always becomes tough, because that's where you have to ask them some sensible questions, get into a conversation of their level. So there comes more and more reading, and those are the challenges that we keep on facing every time.
So I would say C for Chaitanya, C for content expert who has given us content on everything. What do you enjoy more? Teaching, presenting? Like what all do you enjoy? Rate it for us.
Shweta, for a batter, the most toughest delivery is the bouncer. And that's exactly what you've done for me. You've just bowled a deadly bouncer at me as to what is it that you enjoy more. Is it teaching? Is it commentary? Is it anchoring? It's quite a tough answer for me to give, because as I said, both these things that I do complement each other. When I do commentary, it helps me in sharing my experiences with students of everything that I do as a professional. At the same time, when I interact with kids or with students of different ages, it helps me in just filtering of my language, in making sure that I don't use heavy Oxford language words, because I have to make a connection with the younger audience as well. That's where I have to use understandable language. So it complements me in both. So it's, Shweta, I'll just have to duck, as they say. I have to nicely, intelligently leave the bouncer back to the wicketkeeper. That's an answer that I cannot give. Either teaching or commentary, I'll say both. Very difficult to make a choice.
That's not fair, but okay, the expert you are, how well you ducked from this, I'm gonna let it pass. Next, I'm gonna let you pass. So you've done kabaddi, football, athletics, and chess. How do you keep yourself interested and updated about all the sports?
Yes, so I've done quite a lot of sports. I started, of course, with football. Then I did cricket. I did kabaddi. I did chess. I did athletics for Sports Foundation across the world and in India as well. So here again comes the challenge of understanding the different sports. Now, you cannot be a commentator, or you cannot be an expert, or you cannot be a presenter without understanding the nuances of the sport. So there comes just your interest in understanding a particular topic. It's just like giving a talk, or as a theater person. When you have a role, you have to go to the depth of that role, understand what you're supposed to do. Only then will you be able to deliver. The same happens with us in commentary and presenting as well, is to understand and study each and every sport in detail. And at times, if you're not sure about everything that happens in the sport, you just have to be a little clever. So for example, last year when it was the lockdown, the International Sports Federation decided to do a world chess competition, which was in a fast chess, which happens in 2.5 minutes. So that's when I was doing commentary with grandmasters in India. So chess as a game or as a sport, everyone has played, but we are not experts. Now, I know what a bishop is, I know what a rook is, but if you talk of A12, A11, BC, 4-8, is something that I cannot understand immediately and quickly. So that's where I just became a little sensible when I was just talking about the players who are participating, about how the game is played, about how there are bishops, about how there are rooks, and so on. And then I left the very difficult part to the experts. So if you understand the game, but yes, you have to go to the depth of the game, understand it in detail. But at times, yes, you have to be a little sensible if you're not able to get into details of every game, then just leave it and be a little sensible when it comes. So yeah, challenges always are there, and the base of it all is understanding the games and having an interest in it. And coming in from Mumbai, having interest in cricket always is there. And knowing other sports in school also, we play kabaddi. There always is chess. There always is carom, and so many games that are there. So you just have to study them in all, because you know that it's you cannot act like a fool. And if you don't know about the sport, and if you are acting like an expert, now our audience is extremely intelligent, extremely sensible. They'll catch you in a jiffy. So that's where the pressure comes in, and it forces you into doing your homework a lot better.
True that. And now that we are talking about our audience being smart, and you being the commentator expert, me being the filmy chick, filmy goodie, tell me the sports seasons and sports movies and adaptations that you've really enjoyed watching or you're looking forward to watch.
All of them. If you talk in the recent times, if you talk of a certain docudramas that also have been released, or if you talk of a movie that of course is coming up, the big movie that changed the face of Indian cricket, or there's a series that is the third part of Inside Edge, which is going to be released tomorrow, or the variety of documentaries that have been released. So cricket is something which is always discussed, but there are certain other sport also which are perhaps equally important, and the one being tennis. And if you talk of tennis on the international stage, there are two names that made tennis so popular in our country, and that is Mahesh Bhupathi and Leander Pace. And there is a fabulous series, which I'm not wrong, which is on one of the streaming platforms called as Breakpoint, wherein they were the champions, the number one when it came to the doubles in the world. So that's one series that I've enjoyed the most. And when it comes to cricket, it all starts with the glorious cricketing rivalry between two countries, and that is England and Australia. So how did Australia itself become a country is an interesting story. Why England always likes to bully Australia, and why does Australia always want revenge against the Britishers? And that's where one of the oldest cricket series ever to have been played is called as the Ashes. Now, ashes is something that you never term it to be a positive word, and it's something that happens after someone dies. And that is exactly how these two nations play the game for. It happens every December. It'll be happening now also in a couple of weeks. And there is a brilliant documentary that have been made also called as Forged in Fire that speaks of how these two nations, they hate each other, literally hate each other, but still come together in a game that both of them enjoy so much, and that is cricket. So if we talk of cricket, there always is Forged in Fire. Inside Edge is also coming. Of course, we have the massive Kabir Khan 83 World Cup, the movie also being released in I think the last week of December coming in. Tennis ke liye there is Breakpoint. So yes, there's a variety of information and such movies, documentaries available online. And it's just fun, because that's how sport is. It's not only about cricket. Other sports also need to be given priority. And what happened in the recent Olympics is just something that each and every Olympian or each and every athlete, apart from cricket, would have dreamt of what Neeraj Chopra did. And it's just fabulous that we have won a medal in a track and field event, and that also is going to receive some impetus in our country now.
Well, Prasanna Sant is asking us, who's your favorite commentator here?
Oh, Prasanna Sant is asking. I'll have to answer Prasanna Sant. That's my elder brother who's the commentator. So yeah, so we all grew up watching the famous Australia matches that used to start at 5:30 Indian Standard Time. And that's when, if you talk of commentary, and the first commentator that I might have ever heard of was the Australian legend by the name of Richie Benaud. Richie Benaud was the one who laid the foundations for commentary in his very own peculiar style of going ahead with commentary and understanding the game and talking about the game so nicely, explaining the game, including the atmosphere, climate, players, intricacies of the game, and so on. But if you talk of a commentator, presenter who was not a former cricketer, coming from India, and for all of us across the entire cricketing fraternity, in commentary fraternity, it always has to be Harsha Bhogle. Because you talk of former India cricketers who have become commentators and presenters, but Harsha Bhogle is one such example who has not played cricket for India, but still went ahead, understood the game, shares the commentary box and the expert box with former India players, and still makes a lot of sense. So yes, has to be Richie Benaud when it comes to commentary as former India player, and as presenter, and for a person who has not played international cricket, has to be Harsha Bhogle.
And there is also one very technical question, so I'm just trying to go back to it.
Okay.
Okay, I have kind of lost it. So when it comes back, I shall ask the technical question, because I don't want to say any technical term which is not correct. Okay, how will the pitch behave at the Wankhede tomorrow?
Oh, first of all, is the pitch ready? Is the big question. Because as I mentioned a couple of minutes back, that there is bin mausam barsat happening in Mumbai, something we don't expect in the month of December. So because it is raining so much, we don't know whether the match will be played tomorrow because it's a 5-day affair. Yes. So how will the pitch behave is something that nobody knows. Even the journalists have not been knowing how the pitch is because the pitch is covered. Because it is raining, the pitch is covered. But if it is being played in India, in Mumbai, we expect it to be a spinning wicket because that's where Indian strength lies in. Three of the best spinners in the world right now, perhaps when it comes to Test cricket, is what we have. We have Akshar Patel, we have Ravindra Jadeja, and we have Ravichandran Ashwin. Three big names when it comes to spinners. So we expect it to be a spinner's paradise, but we haven't had a chance to look at how the pitch is because it is covered. All that we can pray for is tomorrow morning there'll be bright sunshine, and just besides the Marine Drive, we'll have India playing versus New Zealand.
Do you think India should have won the first test match in Kanpur?
Oh, yes. Now that's a debatable question, but the answer certainly is yes. The way we were playing, and it was the last 7 overs that we needed, 7, 8 overs where we just needed one wicket. It was a fifth day last session pitch without any delays because of rain. And if we have Ravichandran Ashwin, when we have Ravindra Jadeja, when we have Akshar Patel, and the tailenders of New Zealand who are batting, of course, credit has to be given to the two of them who played with a lot of courage. But if you ask me a bang-on question whether if India should have won, my answer will be one word, and that is simple yes. There is no way anyone would have predicted that the last 7, 8 overs remaining and the Indian spinners not able to pick the last wicket was something that nobody would have predicted. So my answer is yes, that India should have won the test match at Kanpur.
How do cricketers manage their mental health in the bio bubble?
Now that is something that we have been debating during the World Cup as well. We had an entire mental health awareness week. Now that can become quite a challenge, because we were speaking during our community stints at Digital 2 Sports. We were speaking to a former English player by the name of Steve Harmison. And I asked him a question that if you were playing cricket right now in the past 2 years and the protocol that exist, and if you're not supposed to meet your family, you could not travel anywhere, how difficult could that be? And that's when he said that it is extremely difficult. You're not meeting anyone, you're with the same set of players everywhere, may that be on the ground, may that be in the dressing room, may that be when you are chatting, may that be when you are have an off day, you are just in that one room. It can be extremely difficult. That's where one of our colleagues in the back office just came in and answered us कि ये बिग बॉस हाउस जैसा होता है ना, कि कितना भी सेंसिबल इंसान हो, अगर एक ही घर में है तो एक दूसरे से शायद झगड़ेगा ही. The similar happens when the cricketers are in a bio bubble. It's quite a challenge, a massive challenge, and that's where we have been speaking about so many cricketers who have come out and said that what we need is a break. Virat Kohli also did not play the first test match, citing reasons of mental health. So if Virat Kohli, Ben Stokes, such legends are saying that the biosecure bubble is a little taxing, it definitely is taxing, but that's the new challenge that the cricketers are facing.
Well, for some reason we can't see you, but I didn't want to stop you while our question answers were going on because I didn't want to lose on this beautiful content that you are giving us.
Okay.
You can sign out and sign in again or something because I don't even want to lose this chat, but we can't see you at all. We can only hear you.
Okay. Yes, I'll just do that. Give me a second. I'll just do that.
And thank you guys for the love, for the hugs, for the heart, for the best wishes that you're sending, for the questions that are going on. Sending this chitter chat has become so much fun thanks to all of you. And now I'm sending him a request again, and we're still continuing our chitter chatter. So you can continue pouring in the questions just the way y'all are doing right now. And I have just sent him a request, and we shall get started super soon. And welcome back on the second round of chitter chatter.
Yes, am I audible and visible now, Shweta?
Audible and visible, and we have a question here. Do you think tactically we missed out on something on the last day which we could have made the difference?
Yes, maybe the last day or maybe a day before that as well, wherein there is a big debate and discussion happening that could we have declared a little earlier and got that half an hour, 45 minutes extra, because it was very difficult for New Zealand to get anything about 200 on the fifth day at a pitch being, and that too at a ground in India. So maybe we could have declared a half an hour earlier, giving us or giving the bowlers on the fourth day last session 10, 12 overs more, and we could have picked a couple of wickets there. It might have become easier. But see, that's what happens, Ashweta. For us sitting over here away from the ground, it's always easier to make these predictions and keep blaming the captain and the coach. Shayad, you could have done this, maybe you could have done that. But the pressure that they face over there, that too playing in India, the first thing that they have to be careful of, we should not be losing the match. Draw is fine, winning always is the priority, but we should not be losing the match. So it's always easy for us to sit here and make predictions that they could have declared a little earlier. Maybe the field placement with the last few overs could have been even more attacking. But it's always a difficult call, that too being an Indian captain, Indian cricket coach, toughest jobs maybe in the country.
There is another technical question on your way. The new ball was available, but we didn't take it. We pushed it for a little later. Do you think it made a difference?
It looks like, now in hindsight, because we did not win the match, it looks like, all these questions coming in will make a lot of sense, because this could have been done. And this is the beauty of cricket in India, Shweta, that everyone is so well read and so well aware of the game that we have experts everywhere. And they all make a lot of sense, because if we have the new ball and it's going to behave a little differently, so why was it not taken immediately at the end of 80 overs? But then again, as I said, it's always difficult. The captain has something else going on in mind, because we have so many minds. Everyone thinks differently. But the way the captain over there in the ground makes his decisions is based on his assessment of the conditions, based on the discussions he's had with the management and with the players. So he takes the call which he feels is the best. And if it works out, we'll just say that great call that he did not take the new ball, had the last wicket gone. But because we drew the match, there'll be a question of he could have declared a little earlier. The new ball could have been taken a little earlier. Maybe better field placements. Always a difficult call to make.
Well, Shinoying is asking us a message for budding commentators.
A message for budding commentators is keep practicing. Keep practicing. You can just have a look at the match as and when it is happening, and you can just keep doing commentary as if you are live, because that's where we practice. Even budding cricketers, what they keep doing it, that they look at the mirror and they do shadow practice. They keep, they act as if they are in the stadium, and they do that defense, they do the pull, and they show off as if they have scored a century just looking at the mirror. Similar is with commentary. When the match is being played on your television sets, you can just act as if you are in the commentator's box, and you can do live commentary, maybe even record it and listen to it later. And that is where it can help you a lot about the grammatical errors that you might have committed, or where your voice modulation could have been a little better. What are the words that you could have emphasized on a little more? What are the little nuances that you could have explained a little more? So understanding the game definitely is the first thing. And second is you have to practice your oratory skills just by looking at the match and doing commentary as if you're sitting live in the commentary box.
Dusra technical question is on the way. Who do you think will sit out for Kohli in our next Test match?
Ooh, there are bouncers and bouncers coming in. We are expecting the bouncers to be bowled at Wankhede Stadium, but there are bouncers coming in over here. Looking at the performance, it's a very difficult call to make, because I'll be saying that a Mumbaikar might have to sit out for a match being played in Mumbai, because going by the form, it just looks the obvious choice for Captain Kohli to come in is going to be the stand-in captain Ajinkya Rahane, who might have to step out. Yes, he has won us the Test match, but when it comes to scoring runs, he has not been doing it, and giving him another chance might just not be the right call for the other budding young cricketers that we have who deserve a chance. So if Ajinkya Rahane plays tomorrow, it's going to be a big surprise. So looking from the technical perspective, I love Ajinkya Rahane coming in from Mumbai. He's the Mumbaikar who's played so many Test matches. Love the way he plays. But just looking from a cricketing perspective, it has to be Ajinkya Rahane sitting out in place of Virat Kohli, because Virat Kohli has to play in the playing 11. No questions about that.
And my last question for this chitter chatter: Test cricket, one-day cricket, T20 cricket, which format is the most entertaining to you from the point of view as a presenter or a commentator?
Definitely Test cricket. any real lover of the sport will always say that it has to be test cricket. There are critics who keep on saying that the match is played for 5 days, ek din mein result nahi aata. Even at times at the end of 5 days, there is no result that comes in. But that's the beauty, that's how cricket started itself. It started with 6 days, then it came back to 5 days. So 5 day cricket, if anyone witnessed the Kanpur test match, there was excitement till the last ball was being bowled. And the excitement was not about a big six being hit. The excitement was not about bouncers being bowled, but the excitement was one batter, a spinner. There were 7-8 fielders right in his periphery. The pitch was behaving a little crazy. The light was going down. The umpires were in pressure. There was these DRSs being taken. There was a test match on the line. Nothing can add on to that excitement. However, I will still add on that when it comes to the broadcasters, when it comes to the kind of sport that sells a lot, I think the answer is very obvious, and that has to be T20 cricket, because this 3-3.5 ghante mein, you have all the entertainment happens. There's a lot of music that comes in. There's a lot of Bollywood that also gets added in when you talk of the IPL, and the result that comes in 3.5 hours. And when it comes to cricket, with the modern audience, all that is required is big sixes being hit. So from a real cricket lover perspective, it has to be test cricket. But from a broadcaster's perspective and from the audience perspective, I think it is T20 cricket that has gained a lot of love across the cricketing world.
And before I have my last section, it's the selfie moment. So please smile. And now we have our last section, which is a rapid fire round where I'm going to ask you certain you have to quickly answer. How's that?
Brilliant. Go ahead.
Virat Kohli or AB de Villiers?
Virat Kohli.
Sachin Tendulkar or Brian Lara?
Sachin Tendulkar.
Commentating on white ball or red ball cricket?
Red ball cricket.
Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar? Better batsman?
Sachin Tendulkar.
One bloke you would love to share the commentary box with from the current Indian cricket team?
From the current Indian cricket team, I would say it would be Ravichandran Ashwin.
Favorite IPL franchise?
Mumbai Indians.
And lastly, cricket or history?
Oh no, Shweta, you could not end this with such a difficult question. Now that is difficult. Now, Shweta, you know my love to history as well. You know my love towards history. We have been doing so many shows for Mind Was with their conspiracies and so many historical shows that I have done over there. So that is quite a difficult question for me. And I'll just say that there is one leather ball. On one side of it is red, one side of it is white. So one side there is cricket and the other side is history. Very difficult choice for me to make.
Okay, lastly, chitter chatter with Shweta Roira.
Definitely, yes, chitter chatter with Shweta Roira. Yes, no doubt about that.
Thank you, Chaitanya, for your lovely time for our chitter chatter. It was great fun. We didn't want it to end. It was like the last over of a match where you were like, no, a little more. What's for your time. And we're looking forward for a great series that's going to happen and many more chitter chatters with you.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Absolute pleasure. And thank you so much for inviting me over here.